Blog Talk Radio.
Bring in, as promised, Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith.
There's been a spike in the desire to own guns in Connecticut. Statewide, over 90,000 guns have been authorized for sale. You know how I feel about it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Good evening, my fellow Americans and patriots. It is Monday, November 18th. The 18th day of November. It's crazy how this year is going by. You know, we're going to be celebrating the Thanksgiving, the ritual of gorging ourselves and then falling asleep on the couches with your family and friends. I hope you're spending the holidays with your families and friends. That's what it's all about. You know, we're about community here at the Midnight Patriot. And, you know, we wish you the most joyous of holidays. And, you know, we're going to be airing all the way up through Thanksgiving. We will probably be live every day. News continues. We got to get the word out. Can't take a break. Can't take a break. We have soldiers' boots on the ground, so the Patriot needs to be here in the studio, talking to you guys. Man, had an incredible weekend. Had just a phenomenal weekend. A lot of hard work. You know, we were out in those storms up here in Wisconsin as they rolled through, and I just want to say the Midnight Patriot family and all America want to say a heartfelt wishes to those that lost loved ones due to the storms over the weekend in Illinois, those that lost property, homes. You know, our prayers go out to you and your families. You know, so, but you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Our lines are open tonight. We don't have any guests for tonight's show, so it's basically up to you. Our call-in number is 1-800-580-4870. We pick up the dime. We actually pick up the dime on that call. If you want to pick up the dime and kind of help us out a little bit, you can always reach us at 347-205-9899 or on Skype. Our Skype name is The Midnight Patriot. But wow, we had a great weekend. Before I get into the news and everything, I got a very special shout out tonight. It is my youngest daughter's birthday today. And I just want to let her know that I love her. I hope she has a great birthday. And I hope all her dreams come true. You know, that's our wish for our children. That's why we do what we do. If it was just me, I know I can survive. I'm a country boy. You know about country boys. We can survive, as Hank Williams Jr. once sang. But we do this for our children. We do this for our neighbors' children, our community children. It's for the children. You know, we don't want to see them strapped and burdened with the debt that this government has been placing on them and the imprisonment that they'll do. But when we get back, you know, we'll be taking caller calls, talking about basically anything you guys want to talk about. You know, the number's 1-800-580-4870. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Like I said, when we get back from the break, we will be taking your calls, talking about your topics. We got a lot of things in the news. It was kind of slow. Over the weekend, but we still have plenty to talk about here at the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast.
hero, someone who saves us from ourselves and our own self-destruction. God only knows we need help. Looking for a hero, someone who cares about the future, not about themselves, but about the idea of America. We need a hero, someone who shows the way. We need a hero who speaks for the people and what we have to say. We still believe this land of the free is still America. We still believe in the land of the free, and we need a miracle. You know this freedom is anything but free. What we have here depends on those who will fight for what they believe. When we stand together, there's nothing that we can achieve. This nation of people standing as one in the name of liberty. We need a hero, someone to show us the way. We need a hero who speaks for the people and what we have to say. We still believe this land of the free is still America. We still believe in the land of the free, and we need a miracle. We need a miracle. We need a miracle. We need a hero, someone to show us the way. We need a hero who speaks for the people and what we have to say. We need a hero today. We need a hero,
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Man, what a weekend. What a weekend. I don't know what you guys did. I hope you spent it with your families. I hope you spent it at church, doing all the things that you need to do to build a strong Patriot community. My weekend was spent with I don't know how many Patriots. It was unbelievable. Probably, I have to say, probably the hardest 2 days of my life in a long time. I'm not used to being physical. We, if you listen to the show, obviously you guys know I'm not a gun nut. I love guns. I love learning how they operate. I love learning the old craftsmanship. The fact that individuals built firearms without CAD and CNC machines and all the modern maintenance and production things. They did it by hand. I love the old guns, the old craftsmanship. That's why I'm such a avid gun person. And, obviously to be a gun owner, you got to have somewhere to shoot. So I actually belong to a couple different ranges. But the one that I enjoy the most is a range here that was actually at one time a military training range where during World War II, I guess, they would train the Navy soldiers on how to shoot 50 cal. So it's a nice range. 600 yards, is the longest. Have a lot of national competitions there. I mean, we have some of the best barrel makers in the country. We have some of the best firearms manufacturers right here, in the area and stuff. So this weekend, like every weekend, 2 weeks before deer season, we do a community kind of outreach program. And what it is that you can come to our range, all the members get together, and we volunteer our time. We don't get paid. So there's about 100 to 150 members. And what we do is we work the range, the pits, because it's the old standard military, where you fly the target up, let them take their shots, and then fly it down. So we charge a very nominal fee. I think it's like $7. And we work with you. It's called Deer Sight. So we do that service for the community, allow members or non-members to come into our range. It is a private members-only range, and we help them sight in their deer, do safety checks, things of that nature. We want everybody to be safe. And, it works. In the state of Wisconsin, last year, I think we had over 250,000 deer taken, harvested, and we had zero fatalities or accidents. So it was a very great program. And, just let you know, you get 250,000 deer taken. I don't know how many actual hunters there are, and zero fatalities or major accidents. Regardless of what the media tells you and everything, responsible gun owners are careful, and safety is number one. So it was a great weekend. So, yes, we were out in the middle of the storm on Sunday, 40-mile-an-hour winds. It was just incredible. Pouring down rain, couldn't see. But yet, we trooped on, We stayed there. Yeah, there was a lot of grumbling, a lot of misery, but we did it. And, our day started about 5:30 in the morning and ended about 5:30 at night. And it was just incredible. But I will tell you, I am wore out. I am exhausted. But what kept me going, it was really cool, is sitting in the pit, because I actually worked in the pit. That's where all the fun stuff happens. All the jokes and the camaraderie and the military guys, joking with each other, and, and us civilians getting to listen to a little bit of their twisted humor. We had a really, really great time. And, but the amazing thing, other than the camaraderie and the fact that we got to, socialize with fellow gun owners and patriots and stuff, no joke, was sitting in the pit, and a guy recognized my voice and asked me, I don't know the guy, I don't know who he is. He goes, "Do you do a radio show at night?" I was like, yeah, well, why do you ask? And he goes, "I listen to you." And it's just amazing. It's amazing. I know we have several thousand listeners, but it's just crazy to run into someone and they pick your voice out and they go, "Yeah, I listen to your show." So it was cool. It was cool. We had a really good time. You know, I showed him the logo. That's what it was. I showed him the logo too, and he was like, yeah, listen, yeah, I get you. So it was cool. It was just neat. It's neat to know that we are actually getting out there. But we got so much more work to do. So much more work to do. You know, our goal by the end of this year is to have 5,000 listeners to our show. You know, our goal for next year is to, you know, have 14,000. You know, that's our goal. And we're only going to get there because of your efforts, your work, the things that you do, you know. And the way that you can do that is, you know, like I said earlier, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, you know, listen to the shows, rebroadcast them, share with your friends, your neighbors, you know, your fellow patriots. Let them know that we give them a voice here at the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. You know, this is for you. This is for you. Now, one of the things that we did, which is really cool, because, you know, we looked at Facebook advertising, and we just weren't getting the quality from that. So what I did is we built an affiliate program. Go out to our website, www.themidnightpatriot.com. Go to affiliate. Sign up as an affiliate. For every unique link or click, we will pay you a penny. Now, a lot of you guys, well, that's not a whole lot. That's not a whole lot. Well, it is. And let me tell you how. You can make $10 a day, $10 a day easily. I used to post on 2 sites, fairly well-known Patriot sites, alternative news media sites. I would always answer the question or do my post like you should. You know, whatever the topic was, I would do a post. And then I would say, hey, look, you know, we talk about this stuff late night. If you're up, go to the www.themidnightpatriot.com. I would just put that link on there. You know, make sure that you post something relevant to the topic so they don't think that you're spamming or advertising. And then put that link there. When I did it, I would get over 300 to 400 more links back to our page. And that was just on 2 sites. So if you do that, and I know you guys are posting out there, I see your posts. If you just put that on there, hey, look, they talk about this at Midnight Patriot. Or why don't you go to the Midnight Patriot and, you know, let's talk about this on the show. You know, Jeff will talk about this. Let him know. You know, let him know that this is a topic you want to discuss. And he'll bring it up, and we'll talk about it. If you just do that, like I said, I did on 2 sites. Consistently got 300 hits. So if I did it on 4 sites or 5 sites, you know, I could have got over 1,000 hits. You know, but I can't do everything. So I'm asking you guys to kind of help us. And that will drive traffic to our site. That will also get the word out. And it will let people know, unlike other shows like us, we want to listen to you. We want your opinion. You know, I sit up here and talk most of the evening because most of you, and there's nothing wrong with this, choose to send me chat messages instead of picking up the phone and call. And I understand not everybody wants to be on the air, especially over the topics that we talk about. I can understand that. I get it. But this is a show for you. If there's a topic that you want to share with us, please send that out to us. And of course you can send it to us in a chat. You know, we'll be glad to get that out and talk to you. Actually, here's one from a fellow patriot. Just sent it to me. And Southern Patriots, 3%er. So we'll give a shout out to the Southern Patriots. You can get to them on Facebook at Southern Patriots or actually it's facebook.com/Southern Patriots. It's amazing, 3%er. For those that don't know, I had to ask. Yep, I had to ask. You don't get answers in life unless you ask the questions. I had to get educated as a patriot, what a 3%er was. So go out there, look at their site, ask a question. You see someone that typed in 3%, usually I, right? The Roman numeral 3. They'll tell you. We talk about it on the show every once in a while, but that's your homework for tonight. That's a way to reach out to someone. Build a relationship online. A good relationship. Not the ones that are going to get you in trouble with your spouses or, whatever. But a good relationship. That's how you develop it. So tonight is kind of a wide open night. So we're here to talk about anything you guys want to talk about. I do have some news that we can fill in for you. We can fill in if you guys don't want to talk. But I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Hey, caller, are you there? Caller, are you?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, how are you, buddy? It'd help if I hit the right button. I had you on the Skype line. I was pushing the Skype button and stuff.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine. That's all
what are we
good.
talking about this evening?
Whatever it's an open evening. I'm kind of I feel like I'm letting you guys down tonight because I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted from this weekend that I just didn't get up to do C-SPAN and do my normal news gathering today. Plus I had some errands, things I'd normally get done over the weekend, I had to do during the day. So tonight's kind of an open night. And on top of that, there's news, but there's not anything that's like real pressing. I mean, it's the same stuff, just different day, right? So
we're just kind of stuck in a holding pattern of just more malaise coming from the Obama administration.
Yep, more lies. I mean, well, the good news is we will talk about this a little bit later, is that the federal judge actually turned down or denied Holder's request to dismiss the charges or possible pending investigation and charges against him in Fast and Furious. So that is a good news. And
I will say this, without a doubt. I mean, one of the key words that you will always remember this administration by is audacity, and the audaciousness of the people in his kingdom, what they think that they can get away with. And it really makes you wonder if the media was actually doing their job, and they actually were on top of this guy and were fair and balanced. And it's like, no, you can't get away with this. And they actually had some idea as to what was constitutional and what wasn't. But I can't believe that Holder actually said, put measures in place to try and stop him from being prosecuted from things that he's actually done. It's just, it's amazing.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. All right, let me kind of break this down. A lot of people are, they ask this question. Well, why is the media so pro Obama? All right, let's back it up. There's this little group. A lot of us do, but there's a lot of, believe it or not, there's a lot of patriots. We add about 250 new a day or a week, and I would say about 30% of them are just getting woken up. So, let me kind of break it down for you. And bear with me. I know because you listen to the show, and you also, I know that you're pretty much awoken at this point in your life. But
by the way, the rest of you all are welcome to the party.
Yeah, welcome to the party. It is a party around here. All right, so exactly. This is the thing. As we all know, there are pretty much just a handful of individuals that run the news media, the mainstream media. They own it. The Rupert Murdochs of the world, and those guys. They all belong to a very elite and a very special group. Well, actually, they're evil. I wouldn't call them special, but they're special in an evil way. Group called the Bilderberg Group, and they're also part of, foreign relations, all of the different, all of the different underground secret, societies only that the big kids and the rich kids can play at. Talk about Thanksgiving, we're all sitting at the kiddie table and they're all sitting at the adult table, they think. And that's the way they want to keep it. And so the problem is this with news media. I'm sure you have journalists that have an integrity. Well, first they get indoctrinated when they're in college, right? From their liberal teachers and their professors and everything like that. Then they go into mainstream media and they're in debt up to their eyeballs because, they had to take out student loans to pay for college. Right. And so they get a job with a news organization, and then they try to run a story, or they want to run a story, and they find out that it's not conducive to their professional growth, or the editors sack their story, or tell them. I mean, there was one, actually, let me pull it up here. I was going to talk about it tonight. There is a gentleman, an author, or editor, let me see if I can find it. Just talk about tonight. He was fired because he refused to not let a story go through. Or, he refused not to let it go. The editor sacked the story, and then he came back and said no more. So what we're going to do, let's do this. Let me take a break. Let me pull that article up, and I'll read it to you. This happens all the time in this business. You get pressure from either your editor or you get pressure from your advertiser. And that's one thing, that's one thing I love about being independent is, I don't get pressure from anybody. And if you try to do it, I'll just, cut you off at the knee. So you're listening to Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. When we get back from the break, I will discuss this and we'll take caller calls.
Well, they say that the country's done. They say that the stock market's gonna crash. They say that every single one of us is gonna let down while they walk across our back. But I'ma stand up. I'm gonna put my fists in the air. No, I don't wanna have to bring my guns, but I'll be ready if it goes there. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Get what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now. But I don't wanna. So let's stand up, put our fists in the air. No, we don't wanna have to bring our guns, but we'll be ready if it goes there. 'Cause we're the epitome of what's left of the USA. We're hardworking, honest, and we make our money the good old-fashioned way. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now. But I don't wanna. No, I don't wanna. Well, I say that the country's fine with a little hard work and prayer. We can get her back on her feet, 'cause I believe she belongs there. So let's stand her up and brush off the dirt and dust. A Lady Liberty needs our help from every single one of us. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that tyranny is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Get what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now.
out of control spending, a government that no longer works for the people. Had enough? Then vote for Stone Anthony for president. Replace politicians with a citizen statesman. www.stoneanthony2016.com.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Or you can join us on the web 24/7 at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We won't spam you. I promise. We will only give you stuff that's pertinent or what's about the show. I'm not going to shoot you pictures of cute kittens hanging in there and all that stuff. But if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 1-800-580-4870. The lines are open. Tonight's show is actually brought to you by Mountain View Off-Grid Living. That's Mountain View Off-Grid Living. Go out and, give Sue a call. See what she's got on her website, mountainviewoffgridliving.com. I'll tell you, like True Patriots and stuff, Sue will actually pick up the phone, answer your questions. She's probably made every mistake that you can make in the prepping business. So if you're new to prepping or need an idea or whatever, give Sue a call. She'll be glad to help you and stuff. So, hey, Wade, are you there, man?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So
I'm on the speakerphone. Is that okay? Does it sound
no,
right?
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. So, right before we went off the break, we talked about, why the media is so naive or unwilling to talk about this president, not actually this administration, not only the president, but his administration. And, and I was going into and kind of explaining the fact that most of these organizations, these mainstream media outlets are part of the, part and parcel, part of the problem, and it just happened. This is a great topic. You always have an uncanny ability to pull up stuff or talk about or ask about to talk about stuff that I've actually pulled up articles for. It's weird because today yeah, I appreciate it. And for everybody who knows, Wade and I don't talk before the show to discuss these, but here you go. Bloomberg News suspends reporters whose article on China was not published. In other words, this gentleman, Bloomberg's owned by, Michael Bloomberg, obviously.
Yeah.
Gun-grabbing bobblehead Bloomberg. His organization, his editors, apparently the reporter, his name's Michael Forsythe, 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 wrote an article that was very critical of China. And, Bloomberg has, very strong ties to China. Yeah. And so they, in Hong Kong, so they canned him, or they canned the story. Well, then of course he pushed the issue and said, that you can't do that. It's a good story. The people need to hear it. I don't even know what the story's about yet because that's how far they shoved it into the closet. Right. But today they now suspended him, So that's, how do you say it? We don't have we obviously have the snooping on the American people, but because we don't have a free press, we don't have censorship in the sense of, government censorship, because the editors and the owners of these major news outlets will censor. The government doesn't have to. And, that's why you don't hear a lot about free press. But most of the journalists that I talk to, it's funny because they envy what I do here at the Midnight Patriot.
They do.
Well, they do. Because, I get to say what I want to say and how I want to say. I don't have an editor over my shoulder, telling me what I can and cannot say on the air. I don't have a producer, telling me what I can and cannot say. And they envy the fact that we're able to make this a viable, in the sense that we can make a living at it, and the fact that we can say what we want to say. And, but what's really crazy, though, is a lot of your mainstream media think that we're way out there, and they don't realize that I would say 90% of the news we get comes from mainstream media. It's just that we cut through the BS, the double speak, and are able to drill it down and get to the true facts and present those. So.
In my dealings, doing what I do, now I'm a cab driver, but before this, I was a chauffeur. Mm-hmm. And that St. Louis has been the site of quite a few presidential debates.
Oh yeah.
And the one, I believe, with Gore. Remember the debate where you probably don't? It's local trivia at this point, but where Governor Carnahan went down in the plane crash.
Yep.
Anyway, I was driving around 4 talking heads at the time of the debate was going on, and I remember one of them was, you remember Chris Lahane?
Oh, yeah.
Does that name ring a bell at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He actually told me that he was responsible for coming up with a vast right-wing conspiracy. And I'm so proud of himself about that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I'm getting at is that at the time that I was doing this, there was him and 2 or 3 other talking heads that were in the back seat. And I remember, and I thought this was so bizarre, one of them said a word. I don't remember what the word was, but almost on cue, those 3 repeated that word together like they were tasting it in unison at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was the freakiest damn thing, but I've never seen anything like that. So, like I told you, I said, doing this job, I believe in circles and patterns, that you can see, and buttons that you can push to people. And that word was said, and they all had that same reaction. And I just thought, this is bizarre.
Well,
this unconscious lockstep among these people.
This is the thing, though. If you're ever around mainstream media, if you're ever around that type of, those type of individuals, and I've always said this, is that those guys excel at acting. They're actors. True news and media personalities don't use teleprompters. They don't use producers or script writers. They just do the news. That's why I think some of your best talk show guys out there, that the most popular, let's take the Rush Limbaugh of the world. Now, Rush has and I know this firsthand because I know guys that are produced and actually written for Rush in his show. And they all say the same thing. He has a daunting work ethic. Even though he has writers, Rush is right there gathering the news, putting the stories together that he's going to talk about. He doesn't have teleprompters. He's not a talking head. Mark Levine is another one, and Michael Savage. Those guys,
they're true geniuses. They honestly are that brilliant.
Well, they're communicators. They communicate to the people. And, so when I look at how I want my show, I don't have scripts. I mean, these are conversations that I have. I mean, the only thing I have is, I have my what we call my air traffic control of topics, that I flip out and stuff. But I mean, it's all conversation. And that's, I'm not, talking about, so it's not, how do I say, it doesn't surprise me that there's a buzzword and they all like parrots, do the buzzword, because that's what they do. I mean, they if you ever watch a news, watch their eyes. And you can tell that they're reading the teleprompter. Everything's scripted for them. And they're just reading the script on the teleprompter. They really don't have any thought or any emotion behind it. I mean, those guys, the Dan Rather, Walter Cronkites of the world, the Paul Harveys of the world. I mean, those guys are long and gone, Yeah,
it's too bad that one of my biggest disappointments in the last election, because I was so behind the guy, I did not realize how much he'd flip-flopped and rode the middle rail. But Newt Gingrich would have been fantastic in debates if he had gotten that far, because the man really is the most brilliant guy in the room.
Well, he's a smart guy, but we call it as it is.
Hugely arrogant.
Well, it's not the arrogance. I mean, he does have several ethic, and like I said, we're going to call it, and I know that's going to upset some of the patriots out there that listen to the show. But the thing is you got to be critical of yourself and others, and because he did have some ethics issues. Let's just be blunt. And could I sit in a room and talk to him? Absolutely. Could I absolutely talk to him? But I think the problem with a Newt Gingrich is that he would be caught up in so many of the ethics issues of the past that I don't know how effective he would be in the future. You understand what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I think Obama pretty much just did it in for everybody. I think a lot of people bought the hope and change, that he was selling, drank the Kool-Aid. And I don't know, I mean, unless you're the Pope or some deity, the Dalai Lama or whatever, I don't think anybody in America is ever going to trust another. I mean, I don't care who you are.
I see what you're saying. I didn't know where you were going with this.
Yeah,
I understand now. I agree.
Yeah, so Newt, even though he would have been a good, I mean, that's why I was critical of Senator Cruz, and some of the ethics issues that he's caught into right now. It's just, how do you say? It's just that you just don't know anymore. I mean, you really don't know. And like I said, if
how's Rand Paul looking?
Well, I like Rand. I do. I mean, I understand that he's, I like Rand. I like Ted. Don't get me wrong. I like these guys. It's just that the problem is they're going to be so caught up in the past, ethics. I mean, look at Rand Paul. All right. So let's talk about Rand Paul and what happened last week. I mean, the guy is now, they label him as a plagiarist, even though, Rachel Maddow, who was beating that drum, she got nailed in it too. Look. There's not that many original thoughts anymore. I mean, pretty much everything. That's why if you look at what's coming out of Hollywood, it's all like either a remake of an old movie or it's another movie done a different way, not necessarily a remake, but the concepts. There's not really any original thoughts out there anymore. And,
no, because the human drama is so played out. Exactly.
So, I'm not too concerned about Rand Paul and he's a plagiarist, and there's some issues there. There were people that actually write scripts and do all those things for him. And
I was just curious if there was anything major coming down the pike that would throw a real wrench into his campaign.
Well, he's a Tea Partier, but I think that's a great thing. He's a libertarian.
The Tea Party needs to really. They need to. One, there needs to be an honest leader, and it's going to be hard to do with a true grassroots movement. And the other is that we have got to grab the reins and really define what the Tea Party is. It's like I keep telling people when they immediately start, going after the Tea Party, it's like, do you not understand? And then you can just see that the wheels don't start spinning in their eyes. Do you not understand that 250 years ago, you would have been on the side of King George, and they don't get it.
Well, this is the problem. The GOP has become a party of center. They become centralized. They're more center than anything else. The guys that they're calling Tea Partiers now are actually true conservatives. The true GOP. Right. Now the thing is that we're not old enough to realize, but when you go back to history and you go back to and you read about the GOP, the grand old party when it was, the cast and characters of the Tea Party, those guys would have fit perfectly into that role. The problem is that the Republican Party or the GOP has moved so central that it looks so extreme, and it's really crazy because the Democrats tended to land in that central area as well. Well, as the Republicans move into that position, or the GOP has moved into that position, the liberals have gone far left. I mean, incredibly left. And so this is the thing. This is the issue. I mean, when we have two parties within the GOP, you have the GOP and the Tea Party, and of course, the media is going to play that up as much as possible because they want the division in the GOP because it's still in this country, unfortunately, until Stone Anthony and people like him can get in there and start another party, but. It's a two-party system, so you got 50% of the vote going one way, 50% going the other way. Well, the liberals have determined, or they've actually gotten smart, which is scary. They've gotten smart, and they realize that they can support a Tea Party candidate as they did in Virginia and split the GOP vote. And so that's why last week I had Lisa Marie Johnson on here from the Nye County Republicans on here because she's actually a libertarian. She was a Ron Paul supporter for both campaigns, and now she is now the director of the Nye County, the third largest county in the United States, the GOP, and she's a liberty girl. She's all about and that's what we need. We need to infiltrate our local GOP offices and knock them off of their center stools and knock them back to the right where they belong.
But how do you do that? I mean, how do you? It's like they're drinking their own Kool-Aid.
No.
They think that they have to be moderates. They can't even see, even though it's really it's not that long ago that Reagan had his massive success as running as a hardcore conservative. It's like, remember when I first told you about that idea that we need to have an advertising campaign? It's like it's a series of conversations of just regular people sitting around talking about political issues and what the Republican Party or the Tea Party actually is.
Yeah,
and at the same time,
Well, I mean, let me back up. See, somewhere along the way, and I would like to know who poisoned this well for the GOP. I'd like to find out who it was. But what you had happen is somewhere in the thinking process, some and I'll just say it, some mental midget out there told the GOP, and they swallowed it. They took this and as gospel that they had to become central and they had to do this and everything, and so now they believe that, and it was. And I don't know if it was a way of them trying to become a moderate like Clinton under the Clinton era or what.
That might be it.
Yeah, they tried to, but the thing is they bought into this. They bought into the fact that they have to be moderate. I mean, look, the numbers. We had a gentleman, Joe, can you hear me now, Butner, that was on here talking about, and he's very well versed in immigration reform. And he flat out said, that even when Reagan did the amnesty bill, and everything, the Dems are all, well, hey, Reagan did the amnesty, thus you should do it. So all the Republicans are going, oh, so we should do the embassy or the amnesty, and the numbers basically, because if we don't do it, we're going to lose all those voters, the potential of those voters. Well, it came out that you lost them anyways. Because
they're not coming back.
They were never yours to begin with, because the individuals that typically took the amnesty were in your lower class or lower income class, and thus they were more reliant on social programming in the government for their subsistence. So the thing was, so the Republicans went along because someone told them that if they did it, they would get the votes. And like Ryan's doing now, Ryan's right there with immigration, and doing the amnesty deal.
He's a bright guy. Why the hell is he doing this? I don't get
Because
it.
someone told him that if he doesn't do it, he's not going to get the votes. That's why. Let's just cut right to the.
He's thinking he's got a shot at the second.
Yeah, because the media is duping these guys. The media, if you listen to the media, the first thing they come out and say, well, if the Republicans, if they don't get on board with immigration, they're going to lose all those votes. Well, guess what? The numbers have shown you're going to lose the votes anyways.
Right.
So why are you selling the country down the river? Thinking, or you're paying, you're gonna lose the votes. The votes have already been, because those individuals who come in here under amnesty are going to traditionally, they vote Democratic. They do, and that's just the way it is. They vote Democratic.
They just think it's going to happen. They think it's going to happen regardless. That amnesty is going to go through, and since they didn't get behind it to begin with, that they're just going to go ahead and lose the people to begin with. Which is why we've got to have a real push towards, the conservatives, towards the character of what it means to be a conservative, because there is a certain portion of Mexicans that come to this country that go through the process, that do become legal, or first or second generation, that have strong conservative characteristics. And you need to point out to them and to other groups, like I said, you're going after the conservative character, not the conservative party so much.
Do you know
that they're already tuned in to what the Tea Party is.
Well, what's really funny though is that most of the guys that I know that have immigrated to this country, and I've got a lot of you don't do what I do, I meet a lot of people, and I talk to I'm a talker. I mean, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. And so I talk to everybody. I'm not bashful. Go up to people and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are you thinking about this? I don't mind going to it's funny. Sandy's like, why do you always drive to the bad parts of town? It's like, because I'm interested. I want to see how people are living. I'm sorry. And you know what? If there were some gangbangers on the corner, I'd go up to them and say, hey, man, what do you guys think? But, I don't want to put my family in danger. But
professional tip, Jeff, just make sure your car is locked.
Yeah, well, you trust me, I'm packing. But the thing is that I love listening to people and their stories and stuff. But before we go off to the break, I want to make this one quick point, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up the conversation on this one. Most of the guys that I know that have immigrated here legally are ultra conservative. It blows. They are all about the conservative value and core. And that's the group that we need to go after if you're a GOPer. And so we need to go after those who have immigrated to this country legally, who participate in the process and not ask for a handout, because participation is a two-way street. And you will find that the majority of those individuals are uber conservative and everything. So we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll finish up this conversation with Wade. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Out of control spending, a government that no longer works for the people. Had enough? Then vote for Stone Anthony for president. Replace politicians with a citizen statesman. www.stoneanthony2016.com. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us on the web every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Having a great conversation. That's what it's all about. We ask that you give us a call, 1-800-580-4870. We got multiple callers on the line. So what I'm going to try to do is squeeze you guys all in at the same time. I hope you don't mind sharing the airwaves with other callers. But, hey, I think that's probably the best way that we can, kind of have a conversation. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like sitting around the dinner table and talking and everything. So, all the music that's played here, I didn't give this plug, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. All the music's played here at the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. You can go out and get it. It's Madison Rising. Go out to their website, madisonrising.com. Buy their CDs. They got 2 out. Great music, great set of music and everything. So, go out to their website, madisonrising.com. So, caller, are you there? Caller?
Who are you talking to?
I am talking to you. Are you 515 area code, my friend?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. I'm calling from beautiful downtown Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Listen, do you accept? Because I'm a Tea Partier.
Okay.
Yeah. I was listening to your show and listening to some comments that you made. And let me just tell you, the only way anything's going to change is going to be changed from the inside. And one of the problems that we've got so many on the right that have decided that I'm not going to vote for this guy, case in point, Mitt Romney, because it doesn't meet my ideological values.
Yep.
And I got in a fight with we've got a radio host from Iowa that this guy wouldn't debate me anywhere. I even offered to debate him Fox News, and he wouldn't do it. And we had a movement against Romney in the last election. And my question is, would you rather have a mock Republican or a Marxist dictator?
Oh, I agree. And that's actually a very fair statement. I agree with you, and that's where I kind of like what Lisa Marie Johnson was saying when she was on the air, that she was a big Ron Paul supporter, but then when it came time when Ron Paul wasn't going to win. And I do like her approach is that absolutely, she went to the Republican and she was on Mitt Romney's campaign, and we need to be that way. You're absolutely correct. I mean, everybody. I hear
we're
people
in the country first.
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of people go, we're a two-party, or lesser of the two evils. Well, you know what? I can always tell you who the evil one is, and and I agree with you. Is that we do need to affect change. But just because you don't get what you want, that doesn't mean you need to abandon the party. And that's the thing that's upsetting me with the GOP is that we get a lot of people that don't get what they want, and so they abandon the party and they go libertarian. And that's not what we need. We need
that's
people.
That's Kyle Robich's poison.
Yeah, we need people to stay in the fight, and we need to if it's McCain or if it's Mitt Romney or if it's Sarah Palin, whoever it is, you're absolutely right, caller. It is so much better than what's there now.
I can tell you, I've some inside information for you.
Okay.
We have 2 candidates we can work with in 16, 22, and the VP has already been selected.
You know what?
Your VP candidate is going to be Suzanne Martinez.
Is going to be who? You're breaking up on us, caller. So who's it going to be?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Suzanne Martinez is supposed to be your VP candidate.
Okay.
I didn't catch what he said.
Yeah,
it's
Martinez.
We've got people that can win.
Yep.
and Rand Paul's already in the race as chief of staff down to the campaign manager.
Okay.
And yeah, he's down about 3 months ago to take over the exploratory committee for Rand Paul.
Yeah, I can tell you right.
Rand's not the candidate that can win.
Yes.
I don't know. I disagree.
Your candidates that can win be Scott Walker or Rick Perry with Susanna.
Which, you know, it's really funny because I was actually going to talk about that. Scott Walker, like I said, you got to kind of watch who they're attacking. And, you know, last week the week before they went after Cruz, then they went after Rand Paul. And this week they, believe it or not, and I've got an article and we're going to share it with the group or with everybody here in the third hour. Scott Walker's now being attacked, you know, by the liberal media and certain things going on there. So I like Scott Walker. I live in his state. I've seen what he has done for the state of Wisconsin in the amount of time that he's done it in, and also with the opposition. You got to remember, Wisconsin is a Democrat state. It's a blue state. And the fact that Scott Walker has come in here and done what he's done and you know, brought jobs back to the state and, you know, fought the public sector unions and won and saved the taxpayers. I don't know about you, but in our state.
Why are they coming after him again?
Well, hold on. I'm going to finish this thought and then we'll get back to that. Scott Walker just lowered our property tax. He said it's not our money, give it back to him. So he lowered our property tax, and on top of that, he lowered our state income tax. So you tell me any state in the union that's done that and those two things. And, you know, no, I agree. I would love to see Scott Walker make a run for it. And I think he could do it. I think he could do it.
I can tell you, he is running. And see, you know who I am, but I happen to know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
no, I get it. Yeah, no, I hear the rumblings too. We're told a lot of things in confidence from very high sources. Now I can confirm that you're probably hearing the same thing. I mean, we're told things, you know, ahead of time, being, you know, doing what we do and everything. And that, you know, I have friends in various positions, and they share that information. And I would not be surprised. Just put it this way, I would not be surprised one bit if you saw Scott Walker on the ticket this year. Wouldn't be surprised one bit. And,
I like the idea of a governor on the ticket.
Well, he's already hanging out in Iowa a lot.
Yep. Well, he's in Iowa. He just came back.
That's the first step you got to make.
Yep. He was just in Cal. Yep.
First step, you got to make pizza ranch here.
Yep. Yeah. No, he was in.
What kind of numbers is he carrying?
Well, he's not carrying anything yet. I mean, they're all doing preliminary, so they're not going to give that information.
I mean, like, what kind of popularity is he carrying among, you know, across the board in Wisconsin?
And they love him. We love him.
They love
here.
him?
Oh, we love Scott Walker in Wisconsin. They love it.
And
I will even tell you, even the Democrats, even my moderate Democrats, they didn't like what he did with the shutdown, but they like what he's doing with our taxes. You know, and you know what? And they made a big comment. You know, they made a big comment about Walker. He's going to hurt the schools by getting rid of the union. You know, you saw all that on the news, right? On the national news. Not one school's laid off a teacher. Not one school's cut a salary. The health care that was here for the teachers is still intact. Yes, they didn't get the Cadillac. Yeah, they didn't get the Cadillac plans that they wanted, but the other thing too is that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that here in Wisconsin, the unions ran the health care for the teachers, and so the state of Wisconsin had to pay the union for the health care. So Walker got rid of that. He said, look, we're not going to do that anymore. These teachers can go out and get their own health care from the major providers on their own, and we're not going to pay we're not going to pay the union. We're going to pay fair market value. And they found out that all the health care plans that we've been paying for these teachers have been overinflated by $100 million a year. And he got rid of it.
God.
Yeah. And then what did he do with the savings? He gave it back to the taxpayers. He said, we're no longer having to pay $100 million a year in health care for these teachers. And so we're going to give it back to you. So he gave us a tax break, and then he turned around last week and he gave 2 weeks ago and gave us a property tax break.
No wonder you guys so popular in your state.
Yeah, we love them. And the other thing too, we're growing our jobs. We have jobs in this state. I mean, there are jobs aplenty. I mean, Amazon is moving. We were a heavy industrial. We were a Chrysler plant. We had Chrysler. We had Snap-on. We have Harley Davidson.
Right.
But we have Amazon now moving in. We have Uline now moving in. We now have, we have heavy industrial equipment. We got Case New Holland here. We have, I'll tell you, I'll just use the phrase, and I don't want to be a spokesman for Wisconsin, but we are open for business in Wisconsin. And there's no doubt about it.
Fantastic.
So
that's probably why they're coming after him then, Jeff.
Well, they're coming, and we'll talk about they're coming after him because he's scary.
Exactly.
He scares them because I will tell you, if you ever go back and watch Scott Walker, he does not have a problem whatsoever telling you what he thinks about you, about your, he doesn't. He will stand toe to toe, nose to nose with you. And, great.
And he obviously doesn't have any skeletons left because they'd got him in the first round.
Well, everybody's got, and they did. They attacked him. There's a huge issue where he had members when he was the executor of Milwaukee County, where he had some of his staff members that were, getting votes. But he was never found guilty. There's rumors that he was part of it, and they, but no one's ever, I don't know. Like I said, I like him. I like him as a governor. He's a great governor. As far as I'm concerned, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And Wisconsin.
You go up against Hillary?
Oh, he would destroy her. He would. I can tell you right now, he would destroy her because he would go after Benghazi, and he wouldn't. He would be like a pit bull, and he wouldn't let it go until we got the truth out of her. And she can be all savvy. Yeah.
Jeff, I've got one more quickie for you. Talk about Benghazi.
Yep.
Off a judge friend of mine the other night is a judge in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And he had talked to a friend of his, the Israeli government, Tel Aviv, I believe it was, last week. It seems that Egypt has filed murder charges against Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton for what happened in Cairo and the slaughter of Christians.
Yep.
They filed murder charges against them in The Hague.
They're done The Hague, exactly.
And,
This president...
part of this involves Benghazi.
Yep.
Because it was Morrissey who was working with the White House. The trained ambassador wasn't supposed to be killed.
Yes.
They were going to trade him for the blind sheep.
For the blind sheep,
and all of this is the documents in that page.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're kind of...
And he's giving me a copy of this.
Yep. No, I can actually, I'll break it down for our listeners because you're kind of breaking up on us, and that's why we're trying. So everybody knows we actually bought a digital hybrid because we've got the caller that's calling. It's breaking up for the listeners out there. It's because he's on a different system than Wade is from St. Louis. So we're adding equipment to our studio here. We spent the $2,000, so we should have it here this week or next week. But let me kind of recap everything that's going on to the caller for those that didn't hear the conversation. There is the fear that this administration has is when Morsi, the deposed leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, starts talking. And what's going to happen is that there's a couple things going on. Is number one, we're finding out, and there's very great, reliable sources out there. And talk about smear campaigns in the media. You know, the 60 Minutes put that individual on the air to discredit anybody that comes out against Benghazi now, because, you know, 60 Minutes did the big expose, and then they retracted and said, and now what they did is they laid complete waste to anybody else that comes forward and says, no, I was there. No one's going to believe them. And that was all orchestrated. I don't care what you say. Outfit like 60 Minutes, you can't tell me they don't have access to Google and they couldn't have done the simplest rudimentary background check on this individual. And, you know, I think that was all play. But going back to the caller's original conversation is that, or statement. So Morsi had a deal with the White House, and this is what the sources are coming out and saying. Morsi had a deal with the White House that Stevens was supposed to be kidnapped, not killed, but kidnapped. And, you know, basically his compound was firebombed. Now, there are substantial reports now that are, you know, propping up that story, because these terrorists, the guys that killed Stevens knew where his safe room was, knew the exact layout of the building, knew everything. So they had prior information. Yeah, they had prior information going into it. So the thing that's going out there is that Stevens was supposed to be kidnapped, not killed, and then there was going to be a trade for the blind sheikh, which is, he got persecuted, obviously and rightfully so, got arrested and got prosecuted for the 1993 World Trade bombings and stuff. And so, you know, unfortunately, Stevens was murdered. Now, the other part of that is, and this is very well documented, there's just no hidden thing here, no conspiracy. This is documented. Stevens was brokering a deal with the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood to take arms that the Muslim Brotherhood had, transfer them to Turkey, and then send them from Turkey down to the rebels, or Al-Qaeda down in Syria. I mean, that's what Stevens was there for, was actually just to do that deal, or to broker that deal. And that, you know, I mean, and it's all going to come out. And they're trying so hard to keep it oppressed or keep it suppressed, but it's going to come out. And you know it's coming out because the media is, you know, the whole 60 Minutes expose, which a week later they had to apologize for, you know, that was all set up. That was set up to discredit. What basically that did is anybody that comes forward now is going to be automatically discounted and, you know, discredited. And, you know, like I said, that was all planned. But, you know, it's good to hear people outside of the state of Wisconsin talking about Scott Walker and his potential run at the White House. I mean, we'll see.
That would be a dark horse.
Well, I don't know. He's not a dark. People love him. You know, a lot of the public doesn't know him yet. You know,
that's not by dark horse.
I got you.
You know, the national, you know, people, everybody out here
yeah.
They've already forgotten about the stuff that happened in Wisconsin largely.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they're going to see. I mean, and he has a lot of, you know, support behind him. But, you know, I guess going back to the earlier statement that I made is that, you know, we can't be like, if we really want to make changes, you know, we've got to get statesmen, people elected into that office. We got to get people that are there. And I've always said that there's two types of politicians. There's the one that gets into the business because he's already maxed out his power and influence in his current position or his current job, so he wants to take it one more step. And then there's the statesman. There's a guy who wakes up one morning like Stone Anthony and so many other Americans that go, I am, like you and I, that go, I am sick and tired of living like this, and I don't want to see my country go down the tubes, so I'm going to, you know, do what I got to do to get into the fight. And that's what, you know, that's what we need. We need a person like that. Now, you know, Scott Walker, his background, you know, obviously he was an executor of Milwaukee County, did an excellent job there. He is the governor of the state of Wisconsin, had to face a recall vote, and he won hands down there. And now, you know, he's taken over the state, in his next election, even the Democrats are going to say it's almost near impossible to beat him because he's done so well for the state of Wisconsin. Maybe that's their play, is to get him to run presidential, and that way, they can get him out of governorship. But who knows? It's a great time to be in Wisconsin right now. If you are a libertarian, if you're a conservative, constitution. I don't want to use the word libertarian. A constitutional minded conservative. That's what I am. I'm a constitutionally minded conservative. I will have to tell you, I talked with Lisa Marie. If you haven't listened to the show, you need to go listen to it. It was last Tuesday's show. And, I had no bones telling people I was a libertarian, none whatsoever, because I was so disgruntled with the Conservative Party, the GOP. But then, after talking with her, I realized I'm doing exactly what they want me to do. And that's leave the party and split the vote. And then hey, I'll be the first one to tell you, I make mistakes. So I am a card-carrying constitutionalist, conservative. That's my there you go. So if you hear someone use that one in the media, I want credit for it. I'm a card-carrying constitutionalist. I'm a constitutionalist conservative. That's it. That's it. There you go.
That absolutely works.
So no, I appreciate the caller. I know that he dropped off and everything. I do have to apologize. We're using this new service, Wade, that Blog Talk gives us, but to be honest with you, it doesn't work. It doesn't. So we are going to spin up the hybrid. I mean, we do have it ordered. I mean, that piece of equipment actually comes from Germany. It's manufactured in Germany. Everybody's going, well, you couldn't find American. No, we couldn't. That did they're the only other American company is JK Audio, right? Actually in Sandwich, Illinois. But the but the problem with JK Audio is they don't give you a message. Like if you call our 1-800 number, it kind of gives you the rules of the show. And the JK Audio one does not do that. It just puts you right into the queue. And of course, because of what we do, we got to kind of so the Secret Service isn't kicking on my door and dragging me off because of something you said. I got to, we got to play that warning, don't threaten the president, and JK Audio doesn't do that. So we had to go with a company in Germany who's been building these hybrids for forever, but we did order it. So hopefully it'll be here pretty soon. And we'll get that spun up. So
I'll be interested to see how that works.
Can you imagine? It's already another break. Hey, can you hold on, Wade? I hate to shortchange you.
Oh, no, absolutely. Go
all
ahead.
right. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Join in the conversation like the last caller. You can join us on Skype. If you have access to Skype, actually, that would probably be the best way to reach out to us. That's actually a very good connection, unlike the Blog Talk Radio connection. But join us on the web every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
But I'm a soldier and I won't to take her as my wife. I asked her father if he would approve, and he said, son, give her a happy life. I found myself overjoyed. She told me a baby boy was on the way. My face grew pale when I picked up the mail and saw my second Call of Duty came. I'm fighting for the things that I believe. It's time to go, my country's calling me. And I heard her walking through that door, leaving with my head high. Set my country through this war, but I'll come back with pride. I love my family, but I'll serve my country, and I'll be the man that's loyal to those above me. But I'll fight harder, and I won't be martyred, and I'll make it home so all my children know me. And I go walking through that door, leaving with my head held high. I'll serve my country through this war, but I'll come back with pride. And I go walking through that door, I'm leaving with my head high. Serve my country through this war, but I'll come back with pride. 'Cause all my children love me. I'll come back alive. 'Cause all my children love me. I'll come back alive.
Out of control spending, a government that no longer works for the people. Had enough? Then vote for Stone Anthony for president. Replace politicians with a citizen statesman. www.stoneanthony2016.com. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us on the web every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Actually, on the web 24/7. Man, I get caught up sometimes. But you can listen to us live from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Web is 24/7. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I promise you we will not spam you. Tonight's show is brought to you by MountainViewOffGridLiving.com. That's MountainViewOffGridLiving.com. Go out to their website. Sue's a great person. Have many conversations with her. Almost seems like a really good friend. It's amazing. It's amazing. But that's what happens here at the Midnight Patriot. We develop these relationships and we become good friends. Like with Wade. Hey, Wade, are you back? Are you there?
I'm right here.
All right, brother. So, that was some good points, about Governor Scott Walker and Rand Paul. And, like I said, I'm giving some information I can hold in confidence. But I would not be a bit surprised if I see them on a ticket or making a run at the White House. I hope so. So
now, how many terms has Walker been governor?
This is it. This is his first time.
Oh, well, what the hell? Barack was only community organizer and senator for how long?
Yeah. No, Walker, he's going to shake it up. He's going to shake it up. Like I said, his style is not one of appeasement. His style is direct. He'll say what he's got to say, and he doesn't care. He's not one for appeasement. And so
okay, I hate to even bring it to the party, but what is his charisma level, would you say, since so many of the Americans are low information voters?
He's one of the most friendly, everybody that knows him and stuff. I mean, I haven't directly talked to him, but I have talked to his people before on a business development deal. And, I can tell you the people that I know that have talked to him said that he's very, very, very outgoing, very, he's the type of guy that will probably drive Secret Service nuts because because he wants to, he wants to get out and he wants to, look, we're from Wisconsin. Our culture here is Green Bay Packers, beer, and cheese. And
I'm born and bred Midwest. I happen to think that we're some of the best Americans.
Yeah, so I mean, he's the type of guy that you'll find him, sitting in a bar, watching a Packers game and drinking beer, and it's not a photo op moment for him, and he's not going to be wearing $1,000 blue jeans, and that's just not his style. I mean, that's just not his style.
Everything you said about the guy, I like him so far.
Yeah, no, he's check him out. And
I wonder who they'd match him with. Do you think he would be a good match with Rand Paul?
I don't, right now though in the state, the darling of course is Ryan.
Right.
The problem with Ryan is that he pushed this, and I can tell you that there are not that many in this state in the GOP party that are very happy with the whole amnesty deal that Ryan's trying to push. So I don't know if he's falling out of favor or if he will fall out of favor. I don't know.
What about the GOP party was behind amnesty?
Well, they are behind. The GOP's behind amnesty, but the people aren't. You
right.
got to remember
that.
The GOP might be behind amnesty, but the problem is that the people aren't behind the amnesty deal. That's why do you think they had to push it off? They pushed it off to past the midterm elections. I mean, they're still good. The GOP, look, this is the thing that aggravates me is about the GOP. They're not listening to the people. The people, the people that they're supposedly supposed to represent are making it very clear to them. They don't want this deal. They don't, making it perfectly clear. The GOP made it perfectly clear to this to the members, us, the rank and file, made it perfectly clear that we did not want them to concede on the government shutdown. But they did it because, of all the other pressures.
But the other thing that makes you wonder is really at this point, who is pulling the strings of the GOP? Is Karl Rove still that much in control?
No, I don't know. No, do you know what it is? I think that's the problem is you don't have a central figure anymore. You don't have anybody pulling it. You have a lot of politicians who are out there trying to get elected so they can keep their jobs. I mean, let's face it. These guys are in there because they want the power. They're definitely they're not in it for the money because they already made their money. They already have their money. They're in it because they like the power. They like the influence that they can deal and peddle and everything. That's why they do it. And they're doing it because look, they have realized that you have to cater to these corporations and you have to cater to these certain individuals so that they can raise the massive amounts of money that they need to raise in order to get elected. And what's really sad is that they've realized some egghead out there, some sociologist has realized that it doesn't matter what your message is, as long as you get it out there and you saturate the airwaves and the media with it, you'll get the vote. You'll get the vote. And that's what it is. It's no longer, most of these guys, it's no longer about the message. It's about how many times can they get their message out there. And then what they do is they just drill it into people's heads, and then people go to the subconsciously go, I'm going to vote this or I'm going to vote that. And so, but in order to do that, you have to raise massive amounts of money. And in order to raise that kind of money, you have to kowtow to the corporate interests. You have to. And
like the worst kind of vicious circle. I mean, it really makes you wonder if that was what happened more than anything in Virginia was just the blackout of anything coming from Cuccinelli.
Oh, no.
Because he ran out of money.
No, well, the problem with Cuccinelli, he ran out of money.
Well, it was a combination. It was that and the fake libertarian that the Democrats
Well, hold on. The problem is that I'll be the first one to tell you, the problem with Cuccinelli is, and he ran out because the GOP wasn't behind him. They didn't want him because he was a Tea Party conservative. He was a guy who was going to go in there and he was going to rock the boat for everybody. That's
the $64,000 question: is who in the GOP feels so threatened by the Tea Party that they can't come to?
They all do.
They all do.
They all do. And let me tell you. Let me tell you why they do. Because the fact of the matter is that the GOP they're so charismatic. And their message is so to the point that we cannot continue to operate this way. I bet you if you put a bill in front of a GOP member who came out and said, the GOP came out and said, look, we can no longer pass a law. Well, look at Rand Paul. You can't pass a law. I mean, he's trying to pass a law that says you can't pass a law in Congress that you're not willing to live by yourself.
Right.
And all the old guard are like, oh, we got to have our Cadillac and we got to have our limousines and we got to have our, caviar dinners with our lobbyist groups and we got to be able to fly out in our jets and shoot ducks with our AR-15. We were talking about that this weekend. But, you have the old guard and they're scared to death of the young guys, especially, the Tea Party. They're radical. And it's crazy because when did sensible government and honesty and integrity in your fiscal dealings, when was that deemed radical? When was it? I don't that's what's wild is that these guys are afraid because they bring back the constitutional concern. I'm going to pound that in so I can get credit for it on one of the talking head shows. But no, they bring it back in. Well, I'll find out who's listening to the show because it'll be posted on someone's Facebook page tomorrow. So it does. It's amazing. I see it all the time. I'll talk about stuff and the next day it just shows up. But which is good.
That's going to make you feel good.
It doesn't make me feel, it makes me know that we're getting the message.
Oh, come on, Jeff, you're human. If you can move the dial, it's going to make you feel good. I mean,
I'm not.
You're out here, you've got an altruist, huh?
It's not. I can't let the person, one of the things I've said, and when I was talking with Sandy about that, I can't let the cult of personality outgrow the message. The message has always got to be out there. But I will tell you, do you know what makes me feel good? Not the fact that people are taking what I'm saying and using it. What makes me feel good is that we are actually getting that message out there. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't have an original thought. I really don't. I don't. I either get it from my news or I'm not bashful about this. I go on the air before I go on the air every night. And I just say, God, give me the words that you want me to use. And it just comes. And then boom, you call. And then what you're going to talk about is something that I've already researched for the night show. So, look, I'm just telling you, I'm just a messenger. And that's all I want to be in this fight is just I just want to be the person to get the message out and to bring the people together. I'll be there with the fight, of course, but and if I do get to that point, please let me know and put me back in my place because I think you changed the show. I think we would change the show. I don't want to be a cult of personality. I know guys that are huge in this business, huge, and I don't ever want to be them. I don't ever want to sell because you don't get to that point in this business unless I think Mark Levin and probably Savage are probably the only two that I think that still stay to their core beliefs. Still stay to their core.
You think Glenn Beck strayed?
You know what's really cool about Glenn? No, and I apologize for not throwing him in there. I've actually watched Glenn come to the point in which he's at. I really like Glenn Beck now. There was a time where I did not. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like him. I thought he was a freaking mouthpiece for the media, and I didn't like him. Really? And then when he left New York and he got his own and he started Blaze, I really like what he's doing. I love the guns, Guns and the charity event that he did last week that Major Pandemic talked about. We're going to get involved in that somehow as well. But I really like what he's doing, and it's amazing when you unhook yourself from corporate media. It's amazing what really comes out. And that's why we fight every day when we're trying to, we're syndication. We're trying to fight it now because they're wanting to say, well, you got to do this or do that. And that's why we don't, how do I say this? We don't rely on advertising dollars to make our paychecks, because if we did, we wouldn't be able to. We have other resources that we have, but I don't ever want to be in a position where an advertiser goes, well, you're going to have to, you can't say that because it's it's offensive to our product. And if you say that, you're going to lose our ad deal. Well, right now, if I lose $6 a month, I don't care, and that's why our ad rates are so cheap, because I don't ever want to be under their control.
Understood.
I don't ever, when they come to me and say, I don't have a problem telling our business model. Our business model is $6 a month as we get going. And once we get out, our model is going to stop at $100 a month. That's going to work. That's where we're going to top out at, $100 a month. And so an advertiser goes, well, if you, I can see it now. I can already see it. Well, if you say that on the air, we're going to take our advertising. Well, here's your $100 bill back. I don't care, because you know what? I got 50 behind you that want this slot, that want to be able to reach, hopefully at that point, I want to be able to reach 14,000 Patriots every night. Every night. And you know what? 14,000 people listening to the show, a lot of people are, well, that's huge. That's for a show like what we do, that's pretty good, Now, if we got into the bigger numbers, 1 million or whatever it is, guess what the price is going to be? $100 a month, because at that point, there's no reason to be greedy. Okay. So it's going to be $100 a month. It'll just be 1,000 deep, So when that advertiser goes, well, it's like, nope, sorry. The first time you breathe it to me, I'm going to say, sorry, your ads are now up and next. So I refuse to be controlled.
That's definitely honorable.
Yep, we refuse. So, but with that, we were talking. We're talking about Walker right before we went out the break. Before the caller came in, what were we talking? Oh, we were talking about news independence. There you go. Talk about being controlled and stuff. Yeah. So the individual that got fired because he pushed the issue, and that that's journalism. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
There's also, and I hate using the phrase of another celebrity out there, but there's just no way around it. Liberalism truly is a mental disorder. Like I said, the people that I talk to on the street, and then you see somebody like look at Juan Williams. Okay, the guy was a target for something that he said in a moment of honesty that a lot of people felt, and they booted him. Okay, so they come over to Fox, open arms. And the man is still, I just heard him yesterday. Was it yesterday or today? He was saying something that how you couldn't deny that part of the persecution of Barack was still his race. Now, how does that, I understand what you're saying, that there are people that are behind the talking heads and the reporters that are saying, if you print this, then you're gone, or we're burying the story, or whatever, both. But, somebody like Juan Williams, who's at the top of his game, and is still spouting something that makes absolutely no sense. It's like you can't look at Barack. Like I would say, take the blind Pepsi taste test. Take everything you know about this president, his party, his race, everything. Just look at the numbers. Look at the situation that the country is in. Look at how we're regarded around the world, and how do you still support him? Because
hold on. I actually had that conversation this weekend. Someone said, someone made a comment, said, well, has anybody called you a racist yet? And I started laughing. I was like, look. I said, are you serious? And I said, number one, you don't know my background. You really don't. You don't know, number one. I said, I'm not against race. I'm against stupidity and ignorance.
There you go.
That's what I'm against. And now whatever color, be it white, be it black, be it Mexican, be it yellow, be it whatever color you are, if you're ignorant and stupid, I'm against you. If you walk around with your pants hanging down to your knees, I'm against you. I'm sorry.
Right.
I think it's disgusting. I got daughters. I don't want to see it. I don't think we as a society should see it. If you're for the open murdering of children, newborns and stuff, I'm against it. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're for socialism and dismantling this government, I'm against it. If you're for the ridicule of Christians and the promotion of Islam, I'm against it. I don't care what, to be honest with you, I never really looked at the man's color. I actually thought, I remember 24, the series 24?
Yeah.
When that was going on, the president,
The black.
This was before Barack Obama even stood foot on stage. I said, you know what? He would be a cool president. A guy like him would be a cool president. I would love to have him as my president. And
you imagine Alan West as president?
Yeah.
Now, there could be a great ticket.
Yeah.
Walker West.
I mean, I actually, believe it or not, I really like Colin Powell. I mean, I like Colin Powell. I, of course, like Rice, Condoleezza.
Yeah, but my problem with Colin Powell is when he admitted when he went over to Obama, and there was no reason other than the fact they were both the same race. That's when I lost respect.
I think the thing is that you got to remember. All right, you got to remember the history here. He got turned out by Cheney and the Bush. He did. Mm-hmm. And he got turned out by the Republican Party. So I think a lot of that, I don't want to say, no, look, Colin Powell is a very smart man. And I don't think Colin Powell's going because he's black or whatever. I think Colin Powell basically said, look, these MFers, and I'll just, I try not to cuss or whatever because I don't want to be that guy. But he was like, look, I got turned out by these guys. My reputation got destroyed by these guys. And he just said, I'm going to go. It was one of these things. I'm going to go wherever the vote, is against these guys. And I think that's, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I still like Colin Powell. I've always liked him. I liked his frankness. I like his, candor. I love Condoleezza Rice.
Oh my God. Now she would have been amazing.
I love her. I'm in, she is brilliant. Just incredibly
that's the problem,
brilliant.
Jeff, is that the process is so intrusive. It's so ridiculous what you have to go through that it's driving out the best people. I mean, there's no way you could understand when Condoleezza said she wasn't going to run because she saw what happened to her best friend. Was Bush a mediocre president in a lot of ways? Yeah, but there's no way that you're going to watch someone who's a friend of yours just get destroyed daily in the media and go, yeah, I want that.
I think, and you know what? I think there's other reasons. And if you dig deep enough, you'll probably come to the same conclusion that I have.
I bet I know what you're thinking.
But, I don't, that's her personal life and I want to stay out of it. But I would love, and to be honest with you, I would support her either way.
Oh yeah.
Because
absolutely.
I like her. I like her style. I like her intelligence. I like her. I'm just infatuated. All right, here we go. I'm infatuated with Condoleezza.
Hey, me too.
So no, I do. I and that's what we need. I think she's a straight talker. I think she's a statesman. Mm-hmm. And that's so. It just irks me when people go, "Oh, you're a racist." They automatically.
Hey, my response? Jeff. My responses to that is when someone says, they call me a racist, my response is?
What?
It's like, I will bet you right now that I can prove you're an idiot faster than you can prove I'm a racist. Are you on?
Yeah.
No one's ever taken me up on it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I'll just tell you, here's a Jeff Norton story when I was a young man. I was born and raised in the military. My father was Air Force, so I didn't know what racism was. It just wasn't part of my life.
Right.
My dad retired from the Air Force, and we moved to Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Which is, pretty, you have your black neighborhoods and your white neighborhoods. It was very that way. And I played football. I was, a freshman football team. And I remember I was sitting there, football, and I learned a lot of the terms, a lot of the name calling that I've never heard before. I learned while playing football.
Yeah.
And everything. And I remember I was sitting at the dinner table with my dad, and Dad's like, well, how's football? And we're sitting at the table, and I let the N-word slip. I about got pounded into the ground. And I was, you will never use that word in this house ever again. And I can tell you, it didn't, I mean, that was one of those lessons that I needed to get taught very early on. And I got taught very well from my father on that. And that was one of those words that, now, like I said, I hate stupid and I hate ignorance. And I just, and I don't care what package it comes in, I'm against it all. And, I leave it at that. So I ain't got time for it. I think when they don't have a valid argument, they call you names.
Yeah.
They do. And if you notice, the Democrats, the liberals, do a lot of name calling. They do. I mean, listen to the Bill Maher's of the world. We will say things on the air as it relates to a situation or something that they've done. They will just come out and say stuff, just vicious, vile stuff.
Because they know that the media is on their side, one, and two, they just honestly feel that they're right and you're ignorant for feeling that the way that you are. Have I told you, I figured out, I boiled it down. Do you know what the chief difference is between conservatives and liberals?
God.
Liberals argue from a point of emotion and theory. Think about it. Think of the things that they believe in. It's theory that it's correct because there's no proof that it's right. Conservatives argue from a point of logic and experience. Because if you take things logically to the conclusion where they go, no matter what it is, your conclusion is going to be true because you've used logic. And you largely use experience because you're using past models that have proven out to be true. Yeah. It's like I can't count how many times I've gotten into arguments or discussions with liberals about, it's just a fact. When you lower taxes, you raise revenue, and the same is true in reverse. And they just can't believe it. I was just talking to somebody, one of the professors, just last week, and they would not follow the model that you had to raise revenues to solve some of the problems that we were facing right now.
But the thing is for them, and I'm going to flip this for you. The problem is for them is that they're not looking at the same picture you're looking at. See, when they see raising taxes, they see that they're less. All right. So you get control out of two ways. You either, are a leader of industry or you push industry. And when I say those two things is, number one, you can either make a fortune or for industry and then you're propped up that way. The other way that you get it is that you're taking or you're a pusher of industry. In other words, that you push them in the direction that you want them to go. And this party and the Liberal Party actually believes, in that whole, the whole thing that without us, you wouldn't have industry without the people. So the most important cog in that wheel is the people, not the individual. So by you lowering taxes, how is that helping the people? And they don't realize that, by you lowering taxes, you create industry, you create jobs, you create all that, and that's what helps the people, but the people have to work for it. But the liberals don't want to hear that because they don't want to work for it. I'm sorry. Right. They don't want to work for it.
No, you're accurate. You're absolutely right. They don't want to work for it.
So the problem is they, I hate to say it. I've yet to hear a good liberal that who you hear this good work ethic. I've yet to hear that. I really have. When you're talking about they got a good work ethic. No, I mean.
No, it's true. Really, it absolutely is.
And maybe
true.
I'm wrong. Call me, send me the hate mail. Tell me what you do if you're a liberal, and tell me your work ethic, and I'll be the first one. If it's a true work ethic, I'll be the first one to admit it on the air right here. But I'm just saying that their mindset, they're not looking at the same picture as us. They're really not. I mean, their gratification is the appeasement of the masses. That's what makes them feel good. That's what makes a liberal feel good. Look at all the liberal movie stars. Look at all the people in the entertainment business that are liberals, and look at them. They're media whores. Because that's how they feel good about themselves. I've said this, C-SPAN has destroyed the debate on the floor of Congress. And the reason being, you will see more Gucci, more, Versace. You will see people dressing up for the TV, and you will see, during Senate
trying to be pretty.
yeah, you'll see Senate hearings. When you go to a Senate hearing, there's no one in the room, but yet when it's time for them to be on stage, they get there and they, on C-SPAN, it's weird. They, like Harry Potter, they just appear. And it's like, what? Where the hell did you come from? You weren't here for the 3 hours. Now all of a sudden you showed up, and that's the thing with them. That's the thing with them, is that it's all about the cult of personality. That's what makes them feel good, is that, that's what really makes them feel good. I don't know how they sleep at night, knowing that they're murdering 20,000 babies every day. I don't know how you can sleep. And I was going to talk about this, but this is a great segue. I'm just going to bring it up right now. For those that don't know, there is an online show right now with Silverman. I can't remember her first name.
Sarah Silverman?
She is doing she is right now on the internet. She is doing a online TV show for fundraising for abortion clinics. One of the most disgusting, vile things that she just did. I was reading the Wire. She has taken a napkin. This is disgusting. Taken a napkin, wiped herself with it, and now is auctioning that off. Now, liberal media thinks that's funny, or thinks that is disgusting. And that's what you're dealing with, America. That's what we're dealing with, patriots. That's the disgusting, sick mindset that we're fighting every day.
She's a pig.
No, they're all pigs. I'm sorry. They're all pigs. Because, they're all supporting it. They're all supporting it. I remember Sandy Hook. Someone called me a baby. I was in Chicago. Someone knows what I did. So they're like, well, you're a baby killer by supporting gun control, or not, you're anti-gun control. And I'm like, what? Huh? And they're like, you're a baby. I said, and I was like, well, wait a minute. He said, you believe in abortion? They said, yeah. I said, well, your industry kills 20,000 a day. 20,000 a day. And you're going to sit there and tell me, tell me if it was up to me, I would have armed guards. We have guards at school, at banks. We have guards. You walked in this building, you had armed guards standing there looking at you. Mm-hmm. And so if it was up to me, you wouldn't have that. That kid would have got plowed the minute he come through the door. But I don't know. I just get so, as you can see, I get emotional here at the Midnight Patriot. There's certain things that just tee me up, Wade, and that's one of them. You have to. Well, disgusting. I can't say it more. It's disgusting. The fact that mainstream media is promoting this is like, oh yeah, there's an abortion fundraiser with comedian Silverman, and she, I saw that, I was like, are you? And you know what? There's some. I don't want to get the dumb one. There's someone that's going to buy that too. By the way,
you can't relate because you have a soul. There's things that you believe in that they've given up. Yeah. I mean, the chief reason I think that we have the rise that we do of people who are atheist or at best agnostic is, it's like, if you don't believe in a God, then you don't have to follow any rules because there's no one there that put those rules. That's what is attractive for these people to not believe in anything.
Yeah.
Is because there's no one telling them what to do. That's why humanism is so attractive to them.
Yeah, well, it's an easy way out.
But the weird thing is, here's the sad thing and the funny thing at the same time, is that actually, when you think about it, Jeff, an atheist has got to have stronger faith than we do.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we're wrong, God forbid, and obviously, no, but if we were wrong, the worst thing that would happen is we'd end up taking a dirt nap along with them for all eternity. We're right, and they're wrong, and it's a lot worse.
You want me to tell you how you fight an atheist?
How?
Say this. It's easy. How can you not believe in something you don't believe in? How can you stand there and make a statement to say, I don't believe in something I don't believe in? You know, I mean, seriously, I mean, how can you, how can you not, you know, well, you say you don't believe in God, but obviously by that admission, you say that there's a God, but you just don't believe in him.
Right.
You're admitting that there is a God, but you just don't believe in him. But you're admitting because you know, because typically I don't believe in things. How can you believe in, not say you don't believe in something that you don't believe in? Doesn't exist. So it shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. The problem is
how many times do you end up getting cursed out?
Whatever. I'm a firm believer. You can believe whatever you want to. I don't care. I frankly don't care what you believe in. You can believe in Satanism. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Doesn't mean that I have to. You know, God, there's a great story. You know, the only good thing that ever came out behind Muhammad and the Muslim religion is if you study the history, you know, and how all that, you know, the separation, how the Muslims and the Christians basically are cousins, and you know, and how all that happened. God said, and this is the thing that I got out of the only thing, you know, when the whole deal, God said, don't worry about them. I will create a nation upon themselves. In other words, I'll take care of that. Don't even, you know, if you're a Christian, if you believe in it, you read about, I got to get the quote. I know there's some Christian guys out there that'll probably shoot me the quote here in a minute, but in the Bible, you know, when all that was going on and he, you know, sent his servant off with, you know, and everything into the desert, and then that became the Muslim religion, or ended up becoming the Muslim religion. You know, was concerned. God said, don't worry about it. I will take care of it. You know, it's no concern of yours anymore. So if you're a Christian and you believe in that, God's saying, ain't none of your business. Don't worry about it. So when people go, I'm an atheist or I'm whatever, I hear that parable. I hear God in my voice say, don't even get in a fight with them. It's not your business. I will deal with that, not you. And so I said, okay, fine. And I just keep walking. That's good. And, you know, people go, I'm an atheist. Well, knock your socks off. Hey, good luck. Let me know how it works out for you. You know, I'll, you know, just let me know. Just let me know. And, you know, like I said, it's just amazing. But yeah, I run into it all the time. But like I said, I don't care, you know, but just don't push your beliefs on me and my kids.
And that's the part that I can't stand. As a modern atheist is just in your face about it. It's like, what do you care?
Well,
truly do you care?
Look at the Supreme Court. The thing that just happened with the town hall meetings. It made me feel.
What happened with that? I never heard.
Well, they haven't done the ruling yet, but it doesn't look like it's going to. You know, and so those that don't know, there's a town hall ruling, or it was kind of funny because the Supreme Court opened the court with a prayer, and there was people that were complaining that it made them feel uncomfortable because they didn't want to participate in the prayer. And there was a Jewish lady, and then there was an atheist, and they were like, well, people stare at me. And it's like, you know, no. I mean, I can tell you, I can care less if you pray or not. Most Christians can care less if you pray or not. They wish you would, but they can care. You know, we've got enough of the issues of our own. We're not taking inventory of anybody else. So, but no, they did the Supreme, but it was kind of funny on how the Supreme Court opened the Supreme Court with a prayer. And and I listened to the oral arguments, and I think the justices are going to come back and rule in favor of the city council because they didn't force anybody. They didn't say everybody has to. The argument was that these people made is that, well, because we didn't pray, we felt that we would be treated unfairly in front of city council, but then there was no record of them ever being treated unfairly in front of city council. And actually, the city council asked them if they wanted to do a prayer. Said, do you have a prayer that you want to share? And they even asked for other religious organizations to come in and do a prayer. You know, so they were like, hey, look, if you pray to Satan, you know, come and do your prayer. You know, we open it. We have to be fair to everybody because we are a municipal party, and you know, we give everybody the same opportunity. And you know, of course, I don't know. That's how crazy it's become.
Yeah,
that's how crazy this country's become. Is the fact that we fight amongst ourselves for little things, stupid things, when our government...
You know what it almost reminds me of, Jeff?
What?
You know what it almost reminds me of?
What?
Do you remember where we were mentally? Like, go back, Google the headlines from September 10th, 2001, and look at the absolutely trivial crap that we were so concerned about. And then what happened on the September 11th, and the whole country came together.
Yep. Yeah,
that's what we are. We're back to that mindset.
Well, the problem is that the government doesn't have a rallying point, and if we truly did get a rallying point, I don't think the government would. They're not liking the rallying point because we're actually rallying against our government.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and look, it's all by design. We talk about this on the show. There is a constant barrage of dumbing down of America. Watch mainstream media. Watch mainstream TV. There's nothing really intelligent out there anymore. There's no shows that really, I mean, if you think about it, there's really no shows out there that teach creativity and coolness. It's all based in, you know, ghosts and goblins and monsters and things that keep America scared, you know, and keep us on the edge. And then look at media, you know, look at the news. It's all about us fearing the black man or the white man or the red man or whatever man. It's all about fear and everything. And so we're kind of on edge. You know, one thing, and I'll tell people, I will actually watch Bowling for Columbine. And I saw that, and everybody talked about how it was an anti-gun movie, with the and I didn't get that. I actually thought it was an anti-media movie because Michael Moore. It's crazy. I'm gonna quote Michael Moore, or I'm gonna paraphrase Michael Moore here on the show. Michael Moore, yeah. But hey, look, we're equal opportunity here, and I'll say Michael Moore made a great point. In the country of Canada, they have per population the same amount of guns that we have here in the United States. But yet they don't have any of the problems that we have. You know, they had one town that had like one murder in like 4 years, and it was like weird. Right. And they don't have the problem. So Michael Moore actually, you know, and it was funny because if you ever watch that movie, he goes, he's like, do you lock your doors? No, we don't lock our doors. And he was actually going into people and like opening up doors to check if they actually lock their doors. And he's like, oh my God, you guys really don't lock your doors. And then he showed the news. He showed our news where, the fear, our fear news, be afraid. And then they showed the Canadian news, which was completely opposite. It was like good stories, about things that are going good in the community and, stuff like that. And it was just incredible. It was incredible. And so I have to kind of agree with them in that regard, in the sense that there is a difference. And the difference between us and them is what is drilled in our heads in mainstream media. I mean, because that's what, like they say, a car wreck. Everybody stops to look at a car wreck. And, and that's because our media does that to us. They want to keep us in fear. Because if we're in fear of each other, then we don't have time to be in fear of our government. Yeah. But the government definitely wants us fighting with each other. They definitely want us fighting amongst each other, because if we ever band together, and I tell my liberal friends, you're the first one to get chopped, not me, because you rely on the government to provide your substance. And when the government no longer is going to provide that to you because they have total control, they're not doing it because they're an all-loving government. They're doing that to buy your vote so you can give them more power. But once they have all the power, they're going to cut you off.
Yep.
You know, because you
These
know.
are the people that don't study history. These are the people that don't, these people don't think it can happen here because it's America and this is 2013 and this possible, this just can't happen. And it's like, no, history keeps repeating itself.
Yeah. It was funny when I was in high school. I hated history. And I used to tell my teachers, they're like, we got to know history. I'm like, why? It's going to repeat itself. I'll just wait for it to come around again. Yeah. Now I'm like, oh my God.
I did like history for the longest time. And then my brother told me something and it all came to light and I loved it from that moment afterwards. He said, the thing is about history is that these are real stories. This stuff actually happened to people. And when I put it in that light, when I would look at something and I would think, this actually happened.
Yeah.
It made history come to life for me, and it made it fascinating.
These old
and to go to,
Well, we talk about history. I mean, everybody, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, all of the great architects of our society, they didn't have a magic ball. They didn't have a Nostradamus or whatever. History repeat. Tyranny looks the same in the Middle Ages and the Bronze Ages and the Stone Ages as it does in the Industrial Age, as it does in the Technology Age. Tyranny is the same, and that's what they saw, and that's what they wrote about, and that's what they tried to protect us from. The number one threat to the human being or the human psyche is government, because government in it as an entity wants complete control. And they saw that, and that's what they were trying to protect us from. And, it's just, yeah. I mean,
where did this start? Did it start with Teddy Roosevelt or was it later?
It started with the
birth
birth
did we
of,
go off the rails?
Well, I can tell you where it started with the birth of man. I mean, men and nature want to control.
The last century.
Well, that's what you. No, I think what happened is that we got away from a common look. If you go back, and this is the misconception too, as a study of history, you had the vileness in politics in the 1800s. You ought to go back, and I love reading old cartoons, political cartoons from the 1800s. You had the same vileness. You want to talk about? Go back and read these cartoons. It was off the wall. You had the same lies. You had the same, the name call. It was pretty brutal. I mean, for God's sakes, we had presidents that used to duel each other.
Yeah.
They would stand at 30 paces and shoot each other, or shoot at each other. So, that's not, actually I think we've become a little bit more civil. What has changed though is the person, because back then people were able to disseminate truth, fact, and fiction, right? They were able to see that and then disseminate it. The problem is we have been so dumbed down and our minds have been turned to mush by popular media that now we don't have those critical thinking skills. Kids are being taught in school now about repetition. They're not being taught like creative, how to think. They're not taught those sciences of thinking and creative thinking processes. It's being
imagination
it's being beat out of them. Quality. Yeah, and so now we have people that don't have critical thought processes. They hear something and they go, "Oh, it's true." They don't have it. They can't look at a news article and say, "Well, that doesn't make sense," or they can't look at an individual and say, well, I like what they like, but I don't like this. They can't like carve out the bits and pieces. There's certain politicians.
Can't decide what is fact and what's
fiction. Well, it's not fact and fiction. It's an all or nothing. It's a black and white.
Well, that's what I mean. Like maybe that's why what's the worst thing that's going on right now in our culture that abortion is looked at like, a fetus isn't a real life because they've heard that. They've heard that growing up. They've heard it on the media. They've seen it. If there was a discussion in their school, it was probably quote unquote pro-choice.
Well,
and that's part of it, because how do you look at? I mean, once again, it comes down to logic. If there's something growing in the body, it's either cancerous or it's it's a separate life. It's either A or B.
Do you know? You want to know how you?
Something that needs,
you want to know how you fight the abortion argument?
Oh, go ahead.
I got it right here. If you believe that a fetus is not a human life, then when that person or a person is in an accident or that, is killed, then you can't say it's murder.
Yep.
Because your definition of murder of a fetus needs to apply across the board. Across the board. And I don't
on that one, Jeff.
And I don't care what they say. So if your definition, if your law is that person's driving in a car and they get hit by a drunk driver or whatever, and the baby dies, and in your states and your statutes allow you to prosecute that person, that individual, for murder or second degree, first or whatever murder of that fetus, then at that point, whatever your bar is set at that point is the bar that you set the abortion argument. And if you did that, it would change it. And you know what? I hate to say it. In today's day and age, with the technology or the medicine that we have now, there is no reason other than rape or incest, forcible, and that, I think, at that point, I will give you that. I will give you that argument. But the reality of it is there are drugs on the marketplace. There's no reason whatsoever for a person to get, to have an abortion or terminate a fetus at that point. And I just, so whatever you set your legality bar at, when you're willing to prosecute someone for killing a unborn child, and that's your prosecution.
I don't know how that slipped through. I really don't, because it's so glaring.
Why? Why does it slip through? Because it's, and I'm just going to say it because we talk about hard issues here. It's all about population control. And I'm saying
from the very beginning.
It's all about population control. I've heard more politicians say, well, if they had the baby, those kids would be a burden upon the state. I've heard more politicians say that than anything else. It's all about population control. And it's all about control of the population that they, of the desirable versus the undesirable. So once again, this all-caring government who you think has got your back, they can care less about you. They don't want you to breed anymore.
Of course not.
That's a hard statement, but that's the truth. They don't want you to breed. That's why they do it. That's why they call it birth control. They're controlling the birth of the children. Yeah. That's what they're doing. And I promise you that when right now, look at China. China, had the one-child policy. Well, the problem is
they were just easing that?
Do you know why they're easing it up? They're running out of workers.
Because they're trying not to lose control of their country?
No, they're running out of workers. They've judged, or they've worked it out that people aren't having the kids. People are sick. People are dying because of their pollution and everything else. They don't have, it's hard to say when you got 1 billion people, right, in your country. Right. But the problem is the quality of the workers, and they're easing it. Not because they're loving and caring, because they realize that in 20, 30 years, because these guys are, Chinese, they play chess. They're not playing checkers in the next move. They're looking at moves 20, 30 rows, years down the road, and they're realizing.
They've always had that mentality. Well, we're coming on 5,000 years of history. I think it just comes natural.
Yeah,
probably.
They're realizing that in 20, 30 years, they're going to lose their working class.
But that's the thing that I wonder about, and I can't understand. I mean, they've got the money, for God's sakes. Why don't they clean up their environment? They can't possibly think, because if you're thinking,
they got the money because they don't clean up their environment. I mean, if you let modern corporations do whatever they want to do and pollute, and you take the regulations, that's the argument right there. That's why a lot of companies go over there, because they got a cheap labor pool, number one, and number two, you have no EPA laws. They don't care. It's all about, and look, do you think the guys that actually run the Chinese government live in that soup? in that cesspool? No.
No.
They're out in, in the mountains, and they're, it's great. Well, they live in other countries. They live in other, they don't even live in the country. They live in other countries, be it Switzerland or wherever. But, they're easing that not because they're a loving, coddling government. They're doing it because they're running out of workers.
No, I honestly thought my reason was I thought they were doing it was because they didn't want to lose control of their country. I mean, they're trying so hard to, keep the people from talking to each other. They probably figure that as enmeshed as they've gotten in the free market, and I run into these kids all the time. I run into Chinese students constantly, and you can just see the light coming on in their eyes. They don't want to go back to what they want. And the weird thing is so many of them are here taking classes and stuff they don't want to be taking. I mean, they're largely all business and business. Yeah, it's basically just business, and they're taking those courses because that's what their parents want them to take.
Well, and
you've got all these kids taking courses they don't even want to take.
Hold on, the kids that you interact with that come here to the United States, they are the 1%ers. So they do not represent anything that has anything to do with China and the mass populace. Think about it.
No, I understand.
The kids that come here to the United States, where the families can afford to send them here and have them go to school here, they are the upper crest of the Chinese people.
Right.
When you got 80% of the Chinese people don't even go to college. And then the ones that do get into college, either through the military or smart enough to go in the military, they go to college. Then you have out of that group, you have 1% that's actually able to come over to a foreign country and learn. So you really can't judge, their eyes are open because they love it. And the thing is with them is that even in China and even with their vast amounts of family wealth, for them to get a pair of blue jeans or to have a Western-like experience is difficult. Well, here they can have it openly, and it's, that's why they're like, well, China, that's the thing about China. Everybody's afraid. I'm concerned about China too because of their political power. But China's got a problem, and you don't see it, but you have mass revolt going on in China. And the problem is it's because Americans have gone over there. We, as a nation, have allowed our companies to go over there and basically pillage these people. And you know what the Chinese government's doing? They're saying, well, if it wasn't for Western American people wanting these cheap shoes or whatever it is, you wouldn't have to be working for 18 cents a day. And the people, and our American companies are aiding in our demise. Aiding in our demise. Because think about it, if you're a factory worker in China and you're told that, you're going to work 20 hours a day, you're going to get beat if you don't work, you're going to go to a prison camp so that those greedy Americans can have an ornament on their Christmas tree this year. Who are you going to be upset at? Who are you going to be upset at?
It may be a bit filtered, but you know what? That's what I'm going to do, Jeff. I'm going to start talking to Chinese kids and ask them how Americans are viewed over there on the street.
Yeah. Well, but the problem is it is filtered because you need to talk to a factory worker, which you'll never be able to talk to.
Exactly.
You need to talk to someone that's making 18 cents a day or whatever it is, or someone that's been told that they're going to go to the gulag if they, but you'll never talk to them. But,
So what are you saying? Are you saying that the Chinese government is intentionally, pardon an ignorant word, riling their citizens to hate America?
I think it's part of it.
Purpose?
Yeah, for what purpose? So they can turn against us. They got to keep them because the problem is that they got it because if you it's not the American, it's the evil American. You got to listen to our interview that we did with Jake Danishevsky, in Soviet communist Russia, and how the same thing was there, how America was evil. because they don't want their people to get that. They don't want them to have that taste of freedom. So they're going to make bad things. They're going to say bad things about us, because once the people get taste of freedom, you're absolutely correct. They will have a problem on their hands. When people go, you mean I can think for myself? I can have my kids. I can do, I don't need to, and so what they do, part of the oppression is out of fear, and the other one is out of resentment. And they make these people say, well, if it wasn't for the Americans, the evil American people, because they want these, Walmart, they want to be able to, and the people are like, ugh, because you're not dealing with people that can, once again, it goes back to education. Think how easy it is to manipulate Americans. Can you imagine to manipulate people in a third world country? They hear, why do I have to work? Because the American people want it. And you have to do it. We have to do it.
Now, do you think that any of this comes into a long-range plan from the Chinese in invading America?
I don't think they're going to invade America. They don't need to invade America.
I tried to work it out in my head. I played Risk enough. It's like,
they're not going to invade America.
Impossible.
They're just going to buy up everything and make it. They're going to make it trade zones, and they're already doing that. So we'll take a break. We'll get back, and we'll actually talk about that when we get back from our break. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. That is www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. When we get back, of course, we'll do our tribute to our soldiers.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
And I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. It doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net or call 8.
Out of control spending. A government that no longer works for the people. Had enough? Then vote for Stone Anthony for president. Replace politicians with a citizen statesman. www.stoneanthony2016.com.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends. I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us here live every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. On the web 24/7 at www.themidnightpatriot.com. That's www.themidnightpatriot.com. midnightpatriot.com. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mountain View Off-Grid Living. That's mountainviewoffgridliving.com. Give Sue a call. Got a new, she's actually got some Christmas sales up. Getting a little ahead of the season there and stuff. But, you know, if you want to talk to someone that's very knowledgeable, that will help you make your selection. And especially if you're new to the prepping movement or whatever, you know, join us here every Thursday as we talk with Prepper Recon. But Sue will also be able to, you know, talk to you directly on the phone. So give her a call. You know, she's been doing it for over 30 years, probably made every mistake that there is possible. We've already talked about some of my mistakes and things that I've done wrong. So as you guys all know, here at the Midnight Patriot, I want to get this in before we run out of time, and then we'll finish it up. But as all you current listeners know, we do an honor to the troops, you know, the fallen segment. So I do want to continue on with that, and then we'll get back and we'll finish up the conversation that we're having with Wade about China, and kind of bring in some other news as we coast into the 12 a.m. Timeline. Now, you know, we normally don't ask for your support, but one of the ways that you can support us, tell your friends. Let your friends know about us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, sign up for our affiliate program. You'll get a unique ID. It's a way that you can actually earn some extra income. So if you're out there blogging, doing all sorts of links and stuff, if you're out there responding to other blogs and doing comments, you know, one of the things you do is respond to that blog, but to put in there, say, hey, look, they talk about this at the Midnight Patriot, you know, give them a shout. And then you put the link, your affiliate link there. And then when they click on it, how that works is that every 2 weeks, you'll get we will actually pay your PayPal account a penny for every transaction. You know, I can tell you, you know, 2 websites that I used to blog on, I increased our traffic by 300 or 400. That was just posting about 5 or 6 posts a day. I was able to drive that. So it's a way you guys make extra money. I know it's not a whole lot, but you buy a Big Mac or something else. Something else is going to kill you early on. Or you can save the money and go to Sue's website and, you know, buy some good prepping food. You know, we all need to start preparing for that and stuff. So that's a way you can support us. If you are a small business owner or know of a small business owner, we have the cheapest rates for the amount of listeners. We got well over 2,000 plus listeners a show a night. It's growing about 250 a week, thereabouts. You know, for $6 to $10 a month, you would get a sponsorship on each show. So that would go out on the podcast. Plus, you get a banner on our site. You know, if you need more information, give me a call at jeff@themidnightpatriot.com. So, but before we get back to our topic here, I wanted to, you know, make sure that we do our little business here. We make sure that we honor our troops and everything. And I do, unfortunately, I have some bad news. We've added another name to the list. And so with that, we'll get started here. Army Staff Sergeant Richard L. Vasquez, November 13, 2013. Army Sergeant First Class Forrest W. Robertson, November 3rd, 2013. If you are a soldier or a family member of a soldier and you need help, you will always find it here at the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. Send me an email, jeff@themidnightpatriot.com. I will make sure that we get you the services that you need and the help. It might be filling out forms, getting you some legal help, medical help, whatever it is. We will move heaven and earth to get those services to you. If you're a family member, if you're lost a loved one, a husband, wife, daughter, son, our hearts go out to you, our prayers go to you. There isn't a night that we don't hit our knees and remember those names that we mentioned on the show tonight. regardless of your political beliefs, please honor those men and women that put on our uniform. When you see them in the store, you see them wherever, go up, look them in the eye, shake their hands. Let them know that you appreciate the services that they provide for our freedom. If you may so incline, buy them their dinner, their lunch, cup of coffee. Let them know that even though our government's turned our back on them, we will never turn our backs on as patriots. May God bless you always. May God keep you safe. Wow. Man, that chokes. That thing, Wade, man, this tears me up. Every time doing that tribute to those guys, to our soldiers, it gets to me. I just normally I stage it so I can do a break right after it, but I cannot imagine having a mother or father, or, son or daughter, not come home. And the fact, and then you have an administration who has complete contempt for what they do for us. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So, but
it feels like somebody's running the country. I don't see, and I have these conversations all the time. I just don't understand how there are people who honestly believe that this president doesn't intend to harm this country. That doesn't. I don't get it. How do you see his actions and not believe it?
Well, because they want it. They, you're talking about, is China going to invade us? And right before we went to the break, China last year they bought over $10 billion, 10 billion, B with a B, $1 billion in just last year alone in U.S. real estate. As far as invading us goes, they don't need to invade us because we're going to become a socialist country just like they are. And, I mean, and I bet you that when there are the China, I think if I was a Chinese military, I would just sit back and say, we'll just wait until they beg for our help. Yeah. Because when they go broke and they can't feed their people, they're going to have to turn somewhere. And I can tell you, it's not going to come without a price. So when the Chinese are already working with they were in Hawaii last week working on disaster relief. Now, if they were really concerned about disaster relief, why weren't they in the Philippines?
Yeah.
With a real disaster. No, why train? Because there's no money there. There's nothing there for them. And so they were here in the United States. And I'm a firm believer, because our country cannot continue down this road. It just can't. It's economically infeasible. It's, you just can't do it. And so we got another debt limit ceiling looming at us. We just can't do it. And so what's going to happen is that when austerity kicks in, the Chinese they don't have to invade us. There's 43% of this country that's going to be crying for their help because they can't feed their families, or they can't, have fuel oil, or they can't, whatever. And the Chinese are going to be there, being who they are going to be right there. Yeah. And then, of course, it doesn't come without a price. It doesn't come without a price. And that's why our government's cracking down on people, patriots, because they know we're going to rock the boats. I will be the first one to tell you, the first blue helmet I see in this country walking around will be the first one I aim at. And that's what most, that's what we believe as 3%ers, and that's what we believe as patriots. I'll be the first one to tell you. I gotta tell you that I'll be they're coming through my door first, probably, because I just said that. But the reality of it is, well, I'm going to fight too, and I'm going to take out as many as I possibly can, because you know what? There's no greater. There's two things I would love to leave this earth, either defending my country or defending my God. Because at that point, I know why I was put on this earth. And there's no doubt about it. There's no greater, don't get me wrong. I don't want to leave anytime soon. I still think I got work to do here. But, I if that's so be it, then so be it. And that's, that's the patriot, creed. That's, that's what we believe. And so, China, we don't have to, they're not going to invade us. We're going to invite them in. And we're already doing it. We're already doing it. One of the things China proposed the other day is because of the payback, the trillions of dollars that they've lent us, is that they want to set up Chinese trade zones. In other words, these are duty-free zones within the United States that Chinese companies can build their factories. And bring their work.
They'll allow them to be built without any kind of EPA restraints.
Yeah. Well, of course our government will allow them to, to do that. I mean, this is the thing. When you owe someone trillions of dollars, I was always told, he who has the money makes all the rules.
Yeah.
And, so when you owe that kind of money, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? My father always used to tell me, well, don't worry about the Chinese. They can't take it with them. But the problem is they're not going to take it with them. The problem is they're going to come over here. And then they're going to start, our government, the Chinese don't need to say, well, you need to oppress your people and you need to spy on them and you need to oppress their free speech and you need to do all that, because our government's already doing it. The Chinese doesn't need to tell them to do it. Our government's already doing it. The only thing that they haven't been able to do is take our guns. They're trying, but they know that ain't going to happen. They're going to have a fight on their hands. Just the other day, you saw the shooting, obviously, at the airport, right?
Yeah.
Feinstein. And you know what? This is by design. That woman is smart. She's got a concealed carry license. A lot of people don't know that. She carries a handgun. Yeah. She's got a concealed carry license. She had one ever since she was involved at, I can't remember his name, but the mayor that was killed, the one that everybody loved there in San Francisco.
I can't remember what his name.
Can't remember his name either, but she was there. She was there when all that happened. The thing is, she got on the news the other day, and the MMP 15. She was like, well, yeah, the military and police 15. So she's, what they're trying to do is say, well, these weapons are only for military and police only.
Right.
And she's like, the MMP 15, and then she's drawing that distinction, and it's like, no, it's just, once again, like the AR, the assault rifle. AR stands for assault rifle. No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It means Armalite.
It's crazy. How could you have been so right? You repeat a lie over and over again, it becomes the truth.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And so she just, once again, she distorts it. And it's just, it's just crazy. I mean, but that's the thing. They have some egghead up there that says, yeah, all you have to, use these buzzwords. If you look at Agenda 21 and core curriculum, which actually I wanted to talk about tonight, but we'll talk about it next time. they realized very early on there were certain words that you could not use in America. And so they changed the words. They, use words like sustainable living, private, sustainable living instead of saying, we're going, basically sustainable living. In essence, if you read the Agenda 21, it basically means slow down production in one area or take from those that have and give to those that don't, so everybody can live. And so they use buzzwords like sustainable living. They use private public, private public relationships and stuff. That means use the government needs to use private corporations to push its agenda. That's this whole thing with Obamacare. If you not see that Obama's trying to now make it sound like the administration's trying to make it sound like the reason why people are getting cut is because of the insurance companies.
Right.
That's what they're,
I see that.
these evil insurance companies, they're cutting these people. They're just not playing. So we need to make a law, but they don't realize what they're not telling people is the reason why the people had to get dropped off the insurance companies is because Obamacare told the insurance companies that their insurance wasn't valid or that their insurance didn't meet the minimum requirements.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the insurance companies had to drop, because a lot of the people like myself who were self-employed had insurance policies, but I didn't have insurance policy for maternity. I already had our kids. We already have our children. I don't need maternity leave, and so we didn't do it. But the insurance policy said that we have to pay for maternity leave for everybody else. And so, that's why they got the denial notices. Or you can no longer buy insurance, good old insurance, like you used to. I used to be able to go to Humana or Blue Cross Blue Shield, put in my information, and I would get a quote for insurance. You can't do that anymore. It's all got to go through the exchange.
But isn't that going to be put on hold here for a while because they're basically forced to?
It's not going to be put on hold. It's not going to be put on hold. I mean, what they're going to do is you still got to register. That information still goes to the government. It still goes into a database. Look, it's not that I don't want insurance. I don't want to be in their freaking database.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them what they're trying to do is say, all right, you can have your old insurance, right? But you still have to participate in Obamacare. And because you're getting your old insurance, you still have to allow us, if we deem that you have a risky lifestyle, to enter your home. Or we still have, you still got to allow us to have access to your financial records. It's not about insurance. It's about another way of controlling you.
That's where, Jeff. It's just so surreal. I just want to wake up.
Well, you are awake. You are awake.
I want to wake up back in like 1982.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, you are awake. I mean, the problem is it's scary stuff. But that's why you need a patriot. Now, that's why we tell people all the time, you got to be around patriots because this stuff will drive you crazy. You will sit at home and worry about it. But when you're around the reason why we talk about it is because we want to wake people up. And I want you to join your local patriot group. I want you to get involved in your church. I want you to get involved at the gun range. I want you to get involved so you have people to talk to. We got to wake you up. But also part of the show, it's our responsibility to kind of guide you towards those groups that are going to give you, the support, because, it's a very, if you're out there alone in this world and you're hearing this news, it's scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's scary. It's very scary. But, like I said, I was there this weekend, and I looked down the line in the pits, and I had 100 people. I had 100 fellow gun owner patriots on both sides, and I got all their names. So it's cool. I mean, it's awesome. But that's what it's about. I mean, that's, we got to wake people up, and after we wake people up, we got to give them a resource. And that's what this show's about.
I'm not giving up, but I'm definitely trying to wake people up as well.
Yeah.
it's so hard to straddle that line in today's society where you're not, a conspiracy nut.
What do you care?
It's actually happened, but people just don't want to believe it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you care? I mean, the thing that we try to stay away from, though, is the crazies, like they were doing the testing. Yeah, I understand that. But what you do is you come to them from a point of intelligence where you make intelligent arguments, and they usually come true, and then they go, wow, how'd you know? It's like, I didn't, because, we do this stuff. And, but you try to stay away from the, the government's going to do they're doing EMP testing in our electrical grid. And there was a lot of guys out there in in alternative news. The government's going to shut down the power. You're going to be without power. And everybody was fear mongering. We said, well, the government's going to, they're doing testing. If they shut down the power, so what? Who cares? If you're a true patriot, you have alternatives. But, don't just go on with your life. Do what you got to do. And the whole thing, they're going to shut down the EBT system, $36, a month they're going to cut. You're going to have mass rioting in the streets. So, okay, whatever. If they have mass rioting in the street, I'm a prepper. If they come to my house, but I'm not going to be running around like Chicken Little with my head cut off. This guy's fun. That's not what patriots do. Patriots just kind of, true patriot just prepares, and when it does hit the fan, they know what to do. But don't feed into the, I love people. This country is controlled by reptoids. No, this country is not controlled by reptoids. There are not little green men coming down running. That's a whole different show that comes on after our show. It's called Coast to Coast. But no, seriously, I don't fall into that crap. Now, we do report things that we know are true. Now, one of the things I scare you, Homeland or TSA are putting in these pods. That is truthful. We've got confirmation where basically you'll go through an individual pod, and if they, they can lock you there until they get done searching.
Lock you there?
Lock you in the pod, yeah. It's like a little individual pod that you go into, that you walk through, and they can shut the doors and keep you there.
What would be the point of that?
So they can search you. They probably got some kind of sniffer, whatever it is.
It's absolutely insane.
You know what? I'm going to blow through this break. I can do that. So we can wrap this up. So that is truthful. So when you go down to the TSA and you go to certain airports, you will walk through pods, or you'll walk through a corridor in which they can block you off. And it's all about, controlling the flow of people coming and going and stuff. But it can also,
if they actually did something like that to me, I'd freak. I mean, I'm claustrophobic.
I don't fly. I mean, I fly, I do. I fly international and stuff like that. And there's times, that, I let them fill my junk. I'm sorry. I just whatever. I'm not standing in that scanner though. I'm not going to do it. So they can pat me down and, I make it uncomfortable for them. But I will tell you this, my daughter, my kids and stuff, I watch them like a hawk. When they do it, and I let them know, I'm not going to, there's certain things, and I watch them. And I've actually had where they said, sir, stand over here. And I'm like, I'm going to make sure, that, and they're like, stand, and it's like, no, I'm watching you. You're putting your hands on my daughter. I have every right to make sure sir. It's like, no, ma'am, you're putting your hands on my daughter. I'm going to stand here and make sure that you do it correctly. I know how to frisk her. I know the proper procedure, and you're going to do it right. And if you do anything other than what you're trained to do, then we got problems. And
I'm surprised they didn't hold you at that point.
Well, they get pissy. Well, there's certain things you say to them that let them know that you're not just an average nose breather or mouth breather. They kind of, there's certain things that you say, like when you talk to an officer, there's certain things that you say to them that lets them know pretty quick that you are knowledgeable on the law, and there's certain, demeanors. People typically that know the law, either through YouTube, when they're talking to an officer, they're scared to death and they're shaking. People that know the law and truly know the law, look them straight in the eye, and kind of control the situation. And an officer picks up on that pretty quickly. And they, like I said, my interactions with police are, pretty tame. Say, hey, how you doing? Most of the time I know them and stuff. Jeff, you're speaking. Yeah, I know.
That's exactly how I deal with the law.
Well, it's funny. The running joke is when I'm speeding through town and stuff, they know I have zero. They know when I have guns in my car. They don't even ask because I'm going the speed limit. I actually had one that told me that. He said, yeah, when you're going the speed limit, we know you got guns in your car. You're probably going out to the gun range. So I've had him tell me that. So when I'm speeding, it's because here in Wisconsin we have concealed carry, but they're not allowed to ask you. You can tell them they can't. Nope, they're not allowed to ask you. They can't say, "Do you have a concealed carry" or anything like that. They can't. They're not allowed to ask you.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that one. I think they should be able to ask.
Why? Why should they?
Because what if someone?
Hold on. Let me back you up. Every police officer is trained that you have a gun.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't change their training. Every police officer approaches that vehicle like you are armed. It doesn't matter who you are. So why it doesn't?
That's intelligent.
Yeah. So they don't, but they're not allowed to ask. Yep. They every scenario. It don't matter who you are. You have a gun, and that's the way they're trained. So by them asking you if you have a gun, it's irrelevant. So.
Okay.
But yeah. But it is funny because I got, like I said, I do have a lot of law enforcement friends. Now, for all those patriots out there, the first thing I ask them if they are an oath keeper. If they're not, then, we just kind of move on.
The first thing you ask them is what?
If they're an oath keeper. If they belong to oath keepers. And if they don't, they get a nice little oath keeper flyer from me and stuff. So, most police officers are pretty good guys.
Okay.
Most of them. I mean, almost all of them I run into they're great guys. A lot of them are like, I ain't coming to your house. It's going to have to be some federal marshal, that come to your house. But they want to go home. They want to go home to their families just like I do too.
Yeah.
So, but man, Wade, it's been a great night.
Oh, it has been.
I know you and I have had a conversation. I know we've had a couple others. So, but it's been. I appreciate it because tonight, to be honest with you, after this weekend, I was exhausted. This old fat man has not worked like that in a long time. And the guy that was running the show when we were working, he was a Marine. So he was like, and Eric's a great guy. And, I did everything that I did because of him. Because I was like, because we're friends. I don't know. He hasn't told me I can call him a friend yet, but I'll just say that on the air that we're friends. And I wanted him because he's the one that actually brought me into the club and sponsored me. So I wanted him to say, hey, my guy, is busting his ass, even though he's 40 plus years old and he's about a shitload of weight.
What did you do? I don't even understand. What did you do this weekend?
Oh, you didn't hear? Oh, we do what they call deer sight. So what we did is deer sight. So it's a community service. So what happens is we allow non-members to come to our range. It's a military range. So we got 600 yards. We have national competition there, and some of the best shooters in the country shoot at this range. And so, so what we do is we allow individuals to come in, and we help them sight in their rifles. I'll put a picture up on Facebook of the pit, and it's like the old military style gun, range. You have the targets that lift up, and they shoot at them, and you drop them down, you mark them, and shoot them, and there's 25 targets. So there's about 100 of us because you got 2 on each target to help lift them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these things are huge. I mean, you shoot at 100 yards, and it allows people to come in and sight their rifles in because deer season starts next weekend. And
it's already going on around here.
Yep. So it's called deer sight. So you got to work 2 weekends. It's the last 2 weekends before deer season. So, everybody, if you're a member, you have to work it. And until you get so many hours, you're kind of like you're on probation. So everybody's required to work. No matter who you are, you got to work. It's it's good for the club. So, hey, Wade, I'll give you a shot. We're about running down here, so I got to do the closing, and then I'll give you a shot.
Thanks for letting me be part of the show.
Not a problem, man. Night. Not a problem. You too.
You soon, Jeff.
All right, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself. Bye now. Wow, I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. I know we have a lot of listeners and stuff. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free to shoot me an email during the day. Jeff at themidnightpatriot.com. That's Jeff at themidnightpatriot.com. Give me a shout. Send me an email. We'll be glad to get in touch with you. You can join the show, and we'll just talk about anything else. Anything you guys want to talk about. So, with that, I just want to say good night, my fellow Patriots. Until we talk again tomorrow night. We're going to have Stone Anthony on the show tomorrow. We'll probably have a couple other callers joining us. So once again, this is Jeff with the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Join us here live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Good night, my friends.